What's up, gang? Shep Ryan with Beaumont here, back again, doing another cool 360-degree website review. This is one that I designed for a rapper that I really just started loving. I recently discovered his music. His name is Malik. Find him on Instagram, Malik on the net. Malik on the net. He had some really amazing creative that he was producing and sharing for his first official album drop, and I said, man, this content is so good, it would make a perfect 360. So I'm going to go ahead and tap this gyroscope button in the top right here, give this browser access to my gyroscope, and yeah, let's explore this space a little bit. You can see there were 6 individual single releases for this project, contributing to a full album. I've got the covers for each one in this space, and I'll rotate vertical because this hotspot is meant to be viewed vertically on mobile. This was like an Instagram concept. I'll tap this. Boom. From right here, I can hit play on Spotify, and voila, it opens up Spotify. How cool is that? It's a great way to connect fans directly into DSPs from your web experience. Each one of these has its own link, just like that last one. And again, this is all creative that Malik had shared on Instagram. And I was just looking at this. I was like, man, this would make a great space 360 design. So I took some of the designs that he had shared, right? I just downloaded them off Instagram, all of these. And then I went digging on the internet for NASA's amazing collection of space panoramas. NASA has like an incredible collection of images of just like space, galaxies, planet 3D scans and stuff. And so this particular background here is an Apollo 17 moon landing panorama that was stitched together by NASA. And you can see I've used some creative, immersive design techniques to look like it's wrapping around in a full pano. It just gives you this great sense of immersion, like you're floating in the middle of space. And if you look around, if we zoom in over here, you can see this is actually a Milky Way star map. There's a Milky Way back there somewhere. Somewhere in this thing. It might be hiding behind the moon image that I used, but really, really neat. And if we look down here, right, this is a NASA panorama of Earth. If I tap this little star here, that's on Austin, Texas. That's me, my little shout out to Malik. Got to include myself in there somewhere. And if we turn around here, right, we've got these moons. Those are just like a 3D sphere wrapped with a equirectangular moon projection. And this is just a really neat space, I'm going to, after showing you this, open up the After Effects project file that I did this in, so you can kind of get a sense of what's going into designing a site like this. So I'm going to go ahead and set my phone down, and we'll switch over to After Effects capture. Okay, so here we are inside of After Effects. Hello there. You'll see this is the equirectangular layout for the site that we were just looking at, right? So if I look inside here, this is like what we were looking at on the website via mobile. This is ultimately at the end of the day, just a JPEG file, right? The internet and technology is very versatile in terms of things you can do with a JPEG file. And I'm about to dig into a little bit of the layering here so you can kind of see what's going on, what's happening, a little bit of, what tools are being used here, in case you're interested in doing something like this yourself. So in After Effects, I am literally working with a single frame. 1 second long is my composition with 1 frame per second, because really all I need is 1 single frame from this space. If we look at the list of layers and stuff here, I'm not the most organized After Effects guy. Honestly, I just started digging into this maybe about 9 months ago, when I started to get frustrated with how limited Photoshop was in terms of panorama editing, VR design. So I switched over to After Effects. Still learning the organization piece, but that's not stopping me from the creative stuff. So I've got this green blue right here. That's this guy right here in the center. You'll see if I click that, he disappears. But you still have space and stuff behind it. It's layered in here. Now, if I go and I look in the effects for green and blue, you'll see I'm using Mantra V2 by Metal. I think this is like maybe a $200 something plugin. It's amazing. Lets me do things beyond my wildest imagination. You'll see if I go look at model transform here, right? This is just a square image of the album art. If I go over here to, where are we? Green, blue, right? This is what we're looking at. It's just square album art that is then being brought into this space and modified in terms of perspective. And I've got it set 450 units like down in the space, which is why it kind of has that cantilevered look. It's like leaning away from you. But if I made this minus 450, right, you see it starts to slide up. If I take that even further, it's just moving through the space with a sense of depth. Now, if I move that all the way down there and we go look at the space, there you go. That's the net result here. So things don't always have to be so linear. We don't just have to have one single line of images here. Maybe we use the space to create this kind of like alternating grid layout that encourages somebody to move their phone and actually be present in the space to explore it and engage with it. I'm going to go ahead and undo those little changes that I made here. And let's look at the font for green blue really quickly. Just zoom in here a little. There we go. Cool. So yeah, we see here I've got another Mantra graphics plugin instance running on this, and this one, I'm kind of also positioning it in the space with the model transform section. But really, what's going on here is I have a grid setup running that is creating like multiple instances of this that then are offset on the z-axis, which is depth, further back into the space. So if I make this like 500, you start to see those things get a little bit more exaggerated in terms of depth. And it's a bit of, trial and error doing design-based VR creating as opposed to like dev-based, like tech code, because in many ways you have to develop your sense of perspective. You have to figure out what looks realistic to the eye. How does it read? Because it would be very easy in a space like this to produce something that felt very jumbled, right? If we go into the actual viewer here and we look, right, this all kind of has a nice sense of perspective. I would say that maybe this section up here is forcing it a little bit too much. Like, maybe it could be bent backwards a little bit to kind of mimic the curvature of this section. But this is exploratory, right? Like every one of these pieces, I try and do something new and explore different ways to activate the spatial part of your brain. Because, with a site like this, we can push the boundaries of how we perceive space. In many ways, this is like an optical illusion. There's 3 different layers of perspective, right? You've got the moon in the background. You've got this guy walking all the way around over here. And if we, zoom in a little, just right here, it kind of feels a little bit inaccurate, right? It's not reading like space, like big depth. But honestly, that's my one complaint with this project. This particular piece. Everything else looks really, really good. Malik, whoever was doing his creative for this project, did a really amazing job. Lots of great photo and graphic work to utilize. And then ultimately, as you saw in the first part of this video, that image can then become something that's interactive on the web, right? You can't do this kind of design in the web yet. There's no like WYSIWYG visual builder for VR sites. So you kind of have to do the heavy lifting in the design end of things to then put it into a more common WebVR builder, and then add a layer of interactivity over it. So hope this was pretty cool. That's kind of a little sneak peek behind probably one of the coolest projects I've designed yet. You can find this project at spectrum.malikonthe.net. And I would say be sure you put https:// before the URL, because sometimes on iPhone, if you just type it in, it goes to the HTTP page, which doesn't always work with your gyroscope. So if you want the full function, https:// spectrum.malikonthe.net. And that is Shep signing off for now. Hope you all enjoyed this kind of breakdown of a 360 website, seeing a little bit of the design process that's going into it, and get excited for the next one, because we've got big things coming down the pipe. The future is bright, the future is here, and this is what it looks like. So peace out for now.